or maybe you're going to discuss it, about, on your page before that, you're showing the statutory duties, the essential duties, and the emergency duties.
Yes, I have it broken down, statutory duties, and then the implied and the essential things that we've been doing by past practice.
Mm-hmm. So, how would you divide out your people between statutory duties and implied duties?
That's a good question.
You don't, if you don't have an answer, that's fine, but that's a...
Right. Well, the statutory duties are court security, transportation of detained persons, and the service of civil process. I don't have people, I mean, other than the court officers, they exclusively work at the court. Every other sworn person has both a share of both the statutory things we do, such as transportation of detained persons, and they also do the implied items, which would be general policing. Now, communications, that is solely a, that is solely done by the personnel assigned to the communications budget.
And that is not mandated by the law.
That's correct.
So, not that I would want to, but the commissioners could recommend that we no longer do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, I've been working diligently with those agencies we have partnerships with, share duties, share information, share personnel, share finances, and it is exceedingly difficult.
Mm-hmm. Now, of your general policing versus statutory duties, what's your breakout?
Well, we spend 40% of our time dealing with just civil process. For each sworn officer, 40% of his hours, if it's 40 in a week, is guaranteed to be civil process, and that's consistent, and that's all the time. Now, transportation of detained persons fluctuates. It really depends on the court schedule, but that typically can mean, oh, it's on call, so it's very difficult to track, but it's at least 20% per individual, and then sometimes it's not. I mean, we've had days where we haven't transported anybody from the state prison, the jail, or Conway court. And then we've had days we've had everybody transported.
So when we go to the video teleconferencing portion, that transportation thing should be significantly reduced.
That's what it appears at first blush, but I've talked to, when we meet with every other sheriff, they said, it's true, it's going to cut down. But we're still going to be doing a certain number of physical transports, and the reason for that is they want to be personally, they have to personally appear for court, for whatever reason. Sometimes it's to sign an affidavit, sometimes it's just because the judge wants it. So we could very well do the same number of transports, transporting less people, which from an officer safety perspective is much better. I mean, when we have just one guy, two guys, and we load up a van with 6, that has all the ingredients of possible problems.
So should I ask the Chief Justice, should I ask Chief Justice Delanis about signing affidavits and judges requiring people to be in court so that we don't have to.
That is, you know, you have excellent instincts, because that always happens, and every time the Chief Justice meets with the sheriffs, that gets brought up. And I'll give you an example. We bring a guy from Concord State Prison, or from Berlin. We bring him over to the district court to sign. Typically, it's a child custody form of some sort. He stays downstairs. He doesn't even go in the courtroom. The court officers bring the form down. He signs it. He just got the most expensive cab ride in Carroll County. She's working on that. She's addressing it. But there's so many different areas where a similar thing occurs. It's hard to actually capture all of them.
So you can't mail affidavits and have somebody.
She's working it. She's working it hard, because the court is responding to the same challenges that state government is, which is the prison, which is us, which is court reimbursement, and she's doing an excellent job at it. I may add.
Okay. So if I was to ask, you indicated that you have 40% in civil processing, 20% in transportation of detainees, and so that leaves 40% of general policing.
That's generally accurate. It varies from time to time, an individual to individual. They have times when their structured day is 100%, and then there are times when they don't have any assignments.
Right.
They don't have a court assignment, they don't have a transport assignment, they don't have a civil process assignment, because it's done.
Anybody else have any questions that they'd like? Yes, Frank.
Just one. Going back to the transport, you mentioned, and I understand exactly what you're saying about the security and the safety of your deputies. What is the average number of individuals, prisoners, whatever you want to call them, per transport?
The average would probably be 2. Sometimes it's a lot more if they're going from here across the street. It may be 4. If it's to the state prison in Concord or the state prison in Berlin, it's usually 1.
1. So the longer trips are
usually it's 1.
Smaller. Okay. Thank you.
Mark, do you have anything?
I don't. Other than we're going to discuss this further, the implied duties at 40%, what type of things we're doing?
Yeah.
Yes. Is that a general question as far as what that falls under?
You'd said that
yes.
Fall under past practices of 40%.
Well, for the towns of Albany, Eden, Chatham, Hart's location, Hale's location, they have no police service with the exception of us and state police. And at least half the time, for any calls to those jurisdictions, at least half, and it's probably more, we cover the call because no one else can or will cover it. That's in those 5 towns. Now, in 5 towns, namely Effingham, Freedom, Madison, what are the other part-timers?
Tamworth.
Effingham, Freedom, Madison,
Tamworth,
Jackson.
Bartlett.
We only have 3 full-time departments.
They do not have full-time 24-hour coverage. And so quite often those agencies come to us and we give them a detailed response about when we will cover for them. It's something they've always done here. I really changed it significantly. Meaning I don't look to cover these towns. I don't consider that's a sheriff's office function. However, when they come to the towns and they say, we don't have anybody available from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. in this time period, will you cover it? Yes, and my response is yes. Now there's 3 towns, no, there's 5 that have 24-hour coverage. Wolfboro, Conway, Wakefield. Yeah, Moldenboro. And, no, who's the fifth? I always miss this one. Is there only 4?
Freedom.
No. Yeah, anyway, those towns do have 24-hour coverage. Ossipee. However, usually it's one guy. So a lot of times they're struggling to, to make the 24, but they usually do. Occasionally they'll say, we don't have 24-hour coverage. People on sick, vacation, and so then we give them a specific response.
I'm not opposed to that. My question is, it's my understanding that the counties pay a different rate, and it's by population or tax base or something to that effect. Is there a factor, are you aware of a factor that's put in there where 40% of our time is covering that we're getting reimbursement anywhere in excess to what their county fee is?
No, there's no, and I'm not familiar with anybody that does that, with the exception of Belknap experimented with the town of Bondstead this year, and I don't think that's even taken off yet.
Okay.
There is some cost sharing for, some counties do the communications, most don't. And there's one county, Grafton, has cost sharing with that.
Do you mind if I speak to this, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Our communication centers takes most of the 911 calls for the counties, except for the Conway, Moltenboro, and Wolfboro. And so when those 911 calls come out, our deputies are out serving civil process, chasing down criminal warrants, cases from superior courts. A number of sheriff's duties, maybe doing a transport or something, but they also can't ignore what goes on in front of them as well. It's a busy county, and they'll handle a call if the guy's out serving process in Chatham and the 911 call comes in, we handle the call. If he's out serving process or arresting someone on warrants or searching people down in Madison, there's a heavy accident, we either take the accident, we assist with them. There's a lot with the general policing, there's a lot that you can't just define. There's also, like during the summer times, there's a lot of arrests that go on the Kank, there's a lot of duties.
If I could. So, and that's perfectly fine. Is this the policy of all the sheriff's departments throughout the county, that this is handled this way?
No.
And so if I could turn your other hat on, tell me about the state police. Aren't they out there supposed to be doing the same duty when an officer needs help and so forth?
That's absolutely correct, what you said, and I have tried to leverage that relationship between us and not only state police True B, which I served 25 years with the state police. Not only with them, but with Concord, 911, the whole Department of Safety. And I can tell you, and I can point specific evidence to support it, that they do not enter into a shared relationship with us. Matter of fact, there was a call just the other day, was some sort of an incident on the Kank, and I have a very detailed policy about handing off calls. And they would not take the call. And that happens at least 40% of the time. At least 40% of the time.
If I might, one of the things that Colonel Quinn, right, the new guy, the guy that's in charge of the state police at this point, is that what he is doing is re-looking at the troops and how many people are assigned and how far their distances are. For example, Coos County has like a very limited number of people, and they live, and their barracks is in Twin Mountain, and if they get a call over in Stewartstown, yes, wherever, I don't even know, but or up in Pittsburgh, their chances of being able to handle that are quite small. But I understand the sheriff in Coos County